So we're gonna do an elimination. Someone is getting eliminated today. Um,
Okay.
and then we'll get two. So for the second debate, we'll have two, and for the third debate, will be the final debate between the two candidates that are left. And after this third, um, after our third debate, we're gonna go straight into voting after into the Discord. So this is the first one. I hope you are prepared. You know what
I
you are
kinda forgot,
supposed.
but,
That's your
so
fault.
I have
Um,
nothing.
that's your fault. You should have known. All right, I want to type it. Where did Jeff go? He disappeared again. Okay, we're first gonna start with AK. There we go. Beautiful.
Yes.
Bro, Goose, just sit, or I'm gonna demote you to like be nothing. And Freppa too. We'll have no generals during the battle. I'm more than capable enough of just being my own general. Sit. First question goes to AK. Inactivity. What are your plans to solve it, and how are you going to address the inactivity issue that we have in the city?
So, I got no clue, man. I kinda forgot about this. But no, my first argument is I got great music. I got nothing, guys. Yes, music
Okay,
wins all.
moving on to Nightbridge. Nightbridge, how will
Oh,
you fix how will you fix inactivity, and how are you going to address the problem?
I mean, we do have a decently sized core of active players on in Frankia, like 10 to 12 people in total. And this core is some of our most trusted and most competent members. And on every server there are going to be a lot of people that cycle in or out of servers as they gain and lose interest. So I believe that there should be some sort of a reward system that would help members stay for longer, as well as well as as well as the fact that we we actually need to we actually need to get rid of some of the people who've been inactive for like a month or so. There's a couple houses with that are technically occupied whose residents uh haven't been here for about a month or more. And I think that it's time to grant those houses to new members. That would that would give people some of the objectively better houses inside of Frankia, might be enough of uh which might be enough to convince certain people to stay in the server and in Frankia.
All right, very well. Jeff, how are you going to address the inactivity problem in Franca, and how are you going to solve it?
First off, that was pretty base, Nightbridge, I'm gonna be real. Second off, I think that obviously like people have stuff going on in their lives, so like sometimes people might be able to play for a season and then they can't for a while. I don't think they should be like punished or like kicked out per se when that happens. So my idea would be like for the housing issue that like Nightbridge mentioned, if someone isn't on for like we could pick the amount of time, but like say 3 or 4 weeks, we could just take like their stuff, move it to some sort of like storage facility, and let other people use that house. Then if they get back on, they would just have to switch houses, but they would still have all of like their things. So there's still that like kind of punishment for not being able to play for that long, but it gives people like the chance for just stuff goes on in their life. They can do that. And then just to keep people playing, I think that man, I know. I think what we're trying to do now with like the wars, people really enjoy, but maybe like other events like build battles and stuff that could also help with like creativity and getting new ideas for how the town can grow. So that's what I've got.
All right, we're going to move on to our second topic. AK, how are you going to address the wars and foreign affairs? As we know, we're at war with two separate nations at the moment. The army is
Um,
mobilizing. How are
So
you going to deal with diplomacy?
I think that we should just be a peaceful nation, I don't think we should go to wars because some people can't. Shut up! Oh my god! Wait, I don't know.
The prophet will stay silent!
I'm both. I quit. I'm leaving. I'm not
That's it?
winning. You guys can go to the next round. I kind of forgot about this. My bad. My bad, guys.
Represent.
Let's just continue addressing the questions, even if it's just me and IJ for now.
Represent.
Yeah, you guys got that. I have
Represent.
to go get ready for the Super Bowl. My bad.
It was a race well run, AK.
Alright.
Thanks. I was doing so good, but then I kind of forgot about this thing.
Alright, I guess we can only
But
then we'll just have to
see y'all.
do Nope, you're done. I guess we'll
Oh.
have to do 2 debates, so the next debate will be the final one then. Okay. Nightbridge, how will you deal with wars and foreign affairs?
Well, I mean, for wars, I'd like to name Godaro here as a minister, as like a minister of war. He would be in charge of assembling troops, helping to secure supplies, and being being the one of our most important fighters. But also I do have an extremely significant stash of materials that could aid us in wars, and we do have enough to equip all of Frankia. Like I I personally have enough to equip all of Frankia multiple times over, and would not hesitate to provide if necessary. As well, I know that there's that Henry has significant resources for war as well, and that together we could supply Frankia for a very long time. As for foreign affairs, I I'd probably I'd probably try to stay somewhat in charge of that. I'm very good at diplomacy from other video games that I've played over the years, and I believe that I can either secure concessions from other nations or just secure favorable treaties for us if necessary. And, and I believe that. Oh, and why do you have PvP on? Somebody's got okay. I believe that we can do this, and I also believe in delegating responsibility to those who deserve it, like Adaro here, like Goose here. I'd make him a general as well, and so we stand better united.
Very good. Alright, Jiff, how are you going to deal with foreign wars and foreign affairs?
On the wars front, I believe we're all aware that my PvP skills are subpar. So I would also just make sure that we have good like generals and leaders in charge that can like lead the troops and get people somewhat trained up in times of conflict. Um, I am a bigger believer in diplomacy rather than just resorting to warfare. I think it would be interesting to like set up systems of trade with other nations rather than like just fighting whenever like there's like disputes over
Yeah.
land or things like that. Um, Also, I generally have supplied most of like the materials as far as like building forts go. Um, that's kind of my main contribution to the war effort is gathering the building materials. So yeah,
Very good. Alright, we're going to move to our third topic. Here we go. Hey, Knight, how are you going to address and fix the market and the economy being empty?
Well, we don't have too many people selling in the market. We don't necessarily have anyone selling in the market the way that this is going. And us and Frankia are as well as most of the other nations do use the money system that goes in the that goes in the server, which is a good system, but it but I believe that if we have some sort of a fixed currency that can't that can't be used for reselling uh, or for other people's market advantage. And I also believe that everybody's got a product. Everybody's got something that they have too much of in this city, and everybody's got something they'd be willing to sell. There should be some sort of advantage to setting up market stalls and setting up shops in order to keep the civilization thriving, in order to keep it moving forward, and in order to circulate resources to people who need inside of the economy of Frankia.
Very nice. All
Also,
right.
also, I
Oh,
also
go ahead.
I'd like to add that uh, I'd I'd be willing to take over the economic aspect of Frankia like almost completely. I am the richest player in the nation, and I believe that I can help everybody else get get advantages going in markets outside of Frankia so that they can bring their profits back here and expand our economy.
Very nice. Okay, Jeff, how are you going to fix market and economy being empty?
I would say that the biggest problem, like kind of against the market, is that there are already like a few shops that have already been like well established and are trusted by the people on the server, and like that's just their go-to place whenever they need something. So I guess like the an easier way to fix that would be to advertise, like have our market be a place where people can advertise like their shops, and maybe we only advertise like the best shops or like the most reputable ones that actually have what people want. Because like whenever you just look up like warps, so many of the warps are just like random places that don't really have anything, and it can be kind of hard to sift through. So I think what Frankia would have to offer people is just a more organized system of doing that, and then obviously that would just help drive also traffic to the people that maybe are getting a new shop going that others don't know of. Um,
It would also cause
that would
a
be like one
reselling
incentive.
problem within Frankia. That would also cause a reselling problem within Frankia that could have outside people taking advantage of our economy if we are selling stuff at cheaper prices. And it could lead to other people controlling the prices of which we sell stuff for.
I wouldn't say we'd be selling the things, like these people would keep the same shops they already have. It would just Frankia would be a place where people can go to discover those shops. Um, so like the person could like pay some amount of money to be able to advertise their shop in our market. And other people could set up other shops for maybe less common things that are sold. Like if they have an abundance of something that's like super rare, they could do that. Um, yep, would be my plan.
Okay. Topic number 4. Night. Citizens, housing, and laws. Go.
So I'd given Henry a plan on how laws would be. I drafted up some laws. And is it and while I go back through Henry's DMs, is it possible that that Jiff could that Jiff oh wait, no, they're not in the DM. Okay, so for laws, we've got the most basic ones, obviously. No
Hold
stealing,
on,
no
could you
griefing,
pause real
no.
quick? Sorry, go ahead, Nate.
Okay, I found the document that I had sent Henry earlier in the year. I had tried to draft up some laws and some punishments that would be done for the breaking of those laws. Obviously, no expansion into claim departments, like no, just nothing underneath other people's apartments is actually a pretty big like issue in, in Frankia. I've noticed while just exploring the city, exploring people's houses, that there's definitely been some issues regarding property lines, and that those may cause conflict. So that's something that may be a legal issue, and also there's obviously going to be punishments for like stealing, griefing, like killing people. Like all those are definite, and I'll be creating certain fines for those and certain types of offenses, as well as creating a legal system per. And as for and as for buildings and stuff, I as for like buildings and all of that stuff, like I'd actually like to delegate that to IJIF if I win this election. That's like he's a good builder, he's a good administrator, and you guys definitely trust him with this kind of stuff. So I'd be fine delegating that portion of my work to IJIF. But the laws, those would be drafted by me and approved by Henry, and I'd also like to get some sort of a formal vote on them for each one individually, and the punishments by Frankia as well, to avoid any complete unfairness.
Very nice, thank you. Jeff, how just address citizens, housing, and laws.
Honestly, I think. Wait, sorry. I think Nightbridge like kind of has me beat on this section. I just thought his plan was super good for like the housing and everything. Um, I would also agree that like either way this election goes, I would probably put him in charge of that, and I could just run the building things because I already had a lot of practice with that. Um, yeah, I don't really have much to add about this.
All right, we're gonna move to our final topic: monarchy and democracy working together. Knight, you have the floor, and then after we let Jeff go, we're gonna do a bit of a dialogue. Then
In
just conclude.
monarchy and democracy working together. That just seems like a parliamentary monarchy kind of. And as for how I'm gonna do this, I am gonna be appointing ministers for different subjects. I may take over two or three of those ministries, such as economics and justice. Uh, but I'd like to delegate to some of the more important and more competent people in Frankia who I know will fulfill some of those jobs with uh, honestly and well. And as as for certain things, I would like to try to get citizens to vote, such as the creation of new laws, just to make sure everybody isn't gonna have major issues with them. But all in all, the system that I'm trying to use has worked in real life throughout history many times, and I believe that as I'm trying to interpret it in Minecraft, it would work here as well.
Very nice. Jeff, monarchy and democracy working together.
Um, Obviously that is always kind of a struggle, but I think that it is important in the aspect that there needs to be one person, because people are always going to be unruly, and there's no really real way to like punish people. So it is important to have like one person in charge that, when it's necessary, can like just make the big decisions like without any input necessary from anyone. But that does need to be balanced with like not being able to. King can't just do anything he wants all the time. So we need to have
Checks and balances.
either like a system of like judges in place, because obviously we have like the courthouse and we have juries, but it could also be useful for like smaller disputes to have just a few judges, or like even just the mayor, be able to settle disputes between people when they agree to it. Um, and then, yeah, I think also, just as Nightbird just said, give the people the ability to actually vote on different issues. Like if an issue is brought to you that seems big enough, or like it could kind of happen again, to be able to just codify that into law. Because obviously we haven't seen like everything that could happen. So being able to have like some sort of law or system in place to update the laws whenever we need to would be very good.
That's all the topics. We're gonna delve into a bit of a back and forth between the two candidates for. I'll put a timer for 5 minutes, and after that, we'll conclude the first debate, and then I'll let everyone know what's gonna happen from there. So I'm not gonna write down the dialogue between. I wrote down everything you guys have been debating. I'd say 80% accuracy, word for word. But I'm not gonna write down the dialogue or free talk you guys are gonna have. So 5 minute timer. I'm gonna set up right now. All right. Yeah. Go ahead. The floor is yours, guys.
Roger, if you can start.
I guess I would just say that. Oh man,
You can
I
speak,
guess,
two of you. You can just debate if you want.
dude, I don't know what there's debate left. I guess I just say that to this point, I feel as if I have done more for Frankia, because I collected most of the resources that built the town, and then also did a lot of the construction of the town on my own, and that really is what helped us to get up and running. Well, I guess the only issue with this is that Nightbridge just wasn't really aware of it at that point. So I don't know. What do you have to say? What have you contributed mainly to Frankia so far?
I mean, I've contributed money, I've contributed resources, I've contributed a bunch of runes to Frankia and distributed a good amount of my stuff. I've contributed some of my caches to the warfare, and and I feel like Jeff has contributed in the way of labor, and in the way of work, but I've contributed to this economically, and provided military equipment to Frankia as a whole.
Yeah, I guess the situation is like super unique. Like we each just do the exact like opposite things already. Not opposite, just like very different. We each have fulfilled different roles. Um, that is going to make this kind of challenging to see who should be mayor. I don't know. Do you have any questions? I don't know if I have anything else.
I mean,
Yes.
yeah, this is somewhat of a difficult situation. We do have two different roles within Frankia as a whole. We do different things, and we work on different issues within Frankia. So
Mhm.
it's somewhat difficult to make a real choice between us here. I feel like for me the benefit would be Frankia's economic development, and for and legal development, and for IGIF I believe it would be more like construction developmentally based. But
Yeah.
I don't necessarily see too much that would. I don't necessarily
see.
see too much else that we can really debate on.
Fair.
Yeah.
All right. Before we conclude this, I'm gonna take 3 questions for each. Actually, we're gonna take 4 questions from the audience, and you guys will take turns answering one of them. Who wants to ask the first question? I get to choose who gets which question I decide gets to ask first. So if you have a question, just say it in the chat. Anyone have a question? Verba asks, what's your stance on war? Which whoever wants to answer this one, you can take turns.
My stance on war. I mean, for a lot of the issues that Frankie has faced on this server and in its past, war's been necessary, and we have the materials to fight. We have the materials to fight for the time necessary. That that we need to fight for, and we have the capabilities. We have the manpower to do what's necessary. But that doesn't mean that we can't form alliances as well. That doesn't mean that we can't formulate trade. But where we do have war, we can win. We have the power. We have the power to win. We have the numbers and the equipment on our side.
Mr. Jiff.
I thought it was one each. Yeah, I feel like we already kind of answered this earlier with the question about the war and everything. I think as well, like up until now, I guess we participate in 2 different wars, like in Frankia kinds. There's the ones that are mostly like for entertainment, which is just kind of a mutual agreement to like fight with these people. And then like the more recent ones that were gonna happen is whenever someone um like abuses us in some way. So I think that is totally justified. I also do believe that having alliances would be very interesting. At least I'm not too sure. I'm still kind of new to Frankia relative to some people, but I don't know if there have really been alliances, like lasting ones, with other nations in the past. So that would also be an interesting avenue to pursue.
Very good. All right. Anyone have a second question? Oh, very good. Gazara asks, what are the candidates' stance on the PCC?
I'm going to be real. I have missed much of the drama with the PCC recently. It sounds like at least at the beginning their ideals were like diametrically opposed to ours.
We still are.
So I think
We've
the
got
fact,
auto.
yeah, continue. You're good.
Well, I mean, they still are. At least Autorat hates us. The rest of the leadership of the PCC hates us. And as long as we have that beef with them, some sort of conflict will occur, and we need to be ready for it. They've been nuisances in the past with all of what they did at the
Autorat is
beginning
not the
when
leader of PCC anymore. Autorat is not the leader of the PCC anymore. That is the evil one, also known as Shipify, which we are currently at war with. They've joined forces with Embercrest, just an update. So Autorat is out of the game, though he does show up sometimes.
anyways, if we have beef with them, then they still hate us. Like they're just gonna keep causing issues for us. They're just gonna keep causing war. There's not gonna be any real peace formulated unless we win here. We have to. Like we just need them to stop harassing us. you guys all remember when the warp was open, how we had all of those idiots just jumping in there and just being annoying in general. That's why we closed the warp. Um, and we don't want that again. We need to teach them all a lesson of deterrence to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Very good. All right, we're gonna take one last question, then we'll conclude. Anyone else got? Very good, Gadaro. Okay. I'm gonna let IJeff answer this one first. If we get griefed again, what will be the candidate's response?
This is good because recently, like with all of the crap with Clutch, I helped a lot with kind of negotiations. I helped build a lot of the farm and like plant all the carrots, and now I've been working on removing the obsidian that is lining the that is lining our is that the northern border?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're working on that. So my response would be to help with the effort of taking it down, but also seeking like a requisite. That's a stupid word to use. Just like a justifiable response to holding that person accountable.
I mean, we need some sort of repayment for all of our time removing all of this from all the lava casts and everything. And even though Clutch did decide to unclaim this stuff, that doesn't mean that we don't need to take the time to tear it all down. It's an eyesore on the north face of our kingdom, and although and I believe that if we work together, then we can get rid of it. But it may take time, and it, we shouldn't just let it go because of Clutch unclaiming it. We should just keep moving forward demand and demand some sort of compensation from all of this.
Very good. Okay. That concludes our debate. One last. Actually, we're gonna go with one more question because Sierra, this is a good one, and I'll continue. What is the plans on who to deal with the farms for now on? Question to both. Jeff, you may go first.
Who to do with the farms? Like what?
Yeah, what is the plans on who to deal with the farms for now on?
Like the farms, like the wheat and the carrot one?
I assume so, yeah.
I haven't. I don't know if I'll have much time to work on that. I think that leaving that open to the people who would like to start having farms out there, because right now I'm pretty sure they're just laying dormant. Um, so maybe just letting people, yeah, just letting people decide if they would like to build a farm out there, be able to give them that land, or maybe they could purchase some of the land to be able to start developing more farms. It'd be good. Because I think right now is, I don't know if everyone has claims to it. I would assume they do to be able to just go farm it, and as long as they replant it, be able to make the profits from the plants. But yeah.
My bridge.
Who to deal with the farms? I mean, that's anyone who wants to farm. You're welcome to take a plot of land as long as you don't like mess with it in some weird way and you're actually farming. That's fine. But anyone who wants to farm, go ahead. Nobody's stopping anyone from using the farms. Nobody's really like there shouldn't be any sort of issue regarding public service.
Very good. All right.
Based.
One last question. This is from me. Both of you. Spell fahrt in the chat. All right, that was easy. All right, this concludes our first debate. Since AK dropped out like a loser, we're gonna have one final debate, probably next week or in 2 weeks. Probably next week. I'll see. And then right after that, we'll do a voting in the Discord. It'll be for 24 hours. And after that, we'll do a ceremony probably the week after or a day soon after near the throne room on the balcony. And then we can get to work building this nation even more